Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. It's now 17 minutes after the hour of 7 o'clock. I'm Kimberly De Souza. Now, Acting Commissioner of Police MacDonald Jacob recently announced that there has been a reported increase in gangs specializing in home evasions. And of course, with me on the line is the Commissioner himself just to discuss this reported trend. Acting Commissioner Jacob, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Yes, good morning to you and your viewer and listenership.
Now, Commissioner, I read the report where you're saying that there was an increase in gangs specializing in home invasions. I've been talking to some members of the public, and they're saying that there has not been an increase. Can you share some details in terms of the statistics or even which areas you would have realized these reported incidents?
No, well, we need to interpret things in a particular way. In recent times, we had a resurgence of reports of what we call home invasions. It is not a normal classification by the police. We have it as a robbery, right? And when it happened within the home or burglary, but for the purpose of us really understanding and having an appreciation, we deem it as home invasion. In fact, within the last few months, we had a decrease in such reports, because during the point from January to April, basically we had an average of around 37 reports throughout Trinidad and Tobago. However, in the month of May, we only had 10 reports. However, these reports were really highlighted within the media, and in some instances, the form of brutality used by some of the offenders was also significant. So therefore, it is back on the radar. Within the last few months, we arrested 55 persons, and they were charged for these offenses throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And when we saw the resurgence in the month of May, where we, as I said, we had 10, but the violent way they are carrying out these acts, we wanted to highlight it to make the public be aware of what is happening, because most of these offenses are really crimes are really opportunity crimes, and the manner how you will carry out your activities, which will be monitored, and you make yourself a sort of target. So we want the general public to be aware, so that to harden themselves, so it will be difficult for these offenders to carry out the actions.
Now, Commissioner, can you share what area these incidents were reported? And also, you mentioned the seriousness of the crime. What sort of crime was it? Was it assault? Was it battery?
Well, when you look at the figures overall, and we do it by division, and what we recognize that the northern and the central division were the highest incidence of the reports. But that is similar to most of our serious crimes that we are getting within these two divisions. So other than divisions, now we can go down into communities, and we will see that, like in the northern division, you will find the community of Malabar, Arima, La Hokita, and those areas are the areas being targeted. And in central division, you have the enterprise area, the 500 area being targeted, and some areas in Couva. So we have identified and we have put things in place to see how we can mitigate, and make it more difficult for the offenders to carry out the action. And the main key in doing it is by increasing our patrol level and having this high level of presence out there and visibility, and reducing our response time if there are reports. And that is the reason why we were able to arrest 55 persons within the year so far concerning these offenses. But they are actually using some level of increased violence, by assaulting persons. They are using firearms as the main tool. So you will be in your garage area washing your vehicle at around 6:30 p.m. in the evening. They jump your fence and they come and they rob you. You will be in your house watching television, and then you hear your pipe on the outside, and you go outside to lock off the pipe, and then they will come and they rob you. So they're using all different methods. We are asking the general public You know, you need to harden yourself. You need to have situational crime prevention measures. One of the things that we advise persons a lot is about something called natural surveillance. Natural surveillance is where you ensure that your trees, right, and plants around you are properly tuned to the point that you can see from a distance, because in some instances, because the neighbor or you yourself cannot really see on the outside, they will hide themselves, and it will make it so much easier for them. So we ask persons to do all of that. We ask persons in relation to the use of CCTV, having alarm systems. And alarm systems, we want persons to recognize that your car alarm can assist you tremendously. So that even though you don't have an alarm system in your house and you detect something, you can set off the alarm for your vehicle, which will act as a significant deterrent to persons who may be in your yard attempting to steal your vehicle or so. But please, do not, if you hear a pipe running outside and you know you didn't even, don't go out, do on the outside. If a stranger come calling you, do not open your door. We are asking for you to call the police. Call the police and let us come so that we can assist you in relation to that, so that if someone is really trying to trick you, we will be there to assist you and arrest the offenders.
Now, Commissioner, I read that you said that in some instances the bandits are actually brutalizing people rather than just taking what they need to take and leave. I mean, why do you think that is?
No, well, you have to go back to the long series of criminology, you know, when persons, number one, feel this high level of deprivation, they are actually influenced by some to give them the impression that the society owes them something, and the impression that some persons who have worked hard and get their necessary property did not really work hard, they get it by some other means, and there are persons out there who are influencing the young people in that regard. So these persons reach this sense of deprivation, sometimes what we call a sense of strain and enemy, where they're trying to achieve and they cannot achieve it because they will see other persons with material things, and because they believe that the society may have owe them something, and persons may not have gotten the things by the necessary means, they may feel a sense that they have to carry out these actions. And then in some instances, some of them are linked with gangs, and gangs have a way they carry out activities to show their signature, you know, and some of it is brutality and violence. Because as I mentioned, some of the gangs that we have existing have now decided to go into the realm of home invasions, going in people's homes. We had that situation happening a lot in the southern area, southern and southwestern and other areas in the latter part of last year. And when we arrested most of these persons, we recognized that they were coming from as far as in the western area, in the southern area, and down south. So we have, in fact, intensified our traffic and highway patrol. You will notice that we have a lot of vehicles on the road, so that if persons go down to the southern area also and they commit offenses, we have intercepted them a lot and arrested them. And that is how we are quite aware that they are now operating in gangs, and we have an idea of the journey. So we have cut down that tremendously. So now they are actually targeting persons within their home turf, I have to say, within the east-west corridor.
Now, Commissioner, we only have a few more minutes, and I have a few more questions. Quickly, from January to now, given these burglaries, have we had any fatalities as a result of it?
Yes, I think on 2 occasions we had instances where we can, in fact, classify it as we'll have the classification as robbery, where persons were actually robbed from home invasions. We had an instance of what we call in the Northeastern Division with two Chinese nationals, and we had it in some other places. but I can remember. But I'm dealing with the East-West Corridor now. We had more than 2 when we look at throughout Trinidad and Tobago, but for the East-West Corridor, I can remember 2 instances where we will have it classified as robbery, related murders.
Commissioner, I was also reading where I believe that the Northern Division is going to be split in 2. Can you share some more in terms of, was this a reason, or was it a result of the break-ins that's happening recently, or was it as a result of targeting crime? I mean, what was the reason for this?
It's really targeting crime, and as most persons are aware that I was the commander in charge of Northern Division for a period. And since then, from my experience in Northern Division, having 440,000 customers, and, within that division alone, there are 52 schools, as I say, I can call the number 66 traffic lights, 3 hospitals, the airport. It is humongous, and it's the area which have most of the government housing developments and private developments and estates. So just having one commander alone commanding 13 stations, from my experience, it will be much easier if a commander, if you divide it into half and provide resources, so it will be more manageable. And all your crime strategies and tactics can be more effective. So we started that on the 1st of February, running a pilot to see how it will work. We have a commander in Arima covering about 6 stations, and then a commander in St. Joseph covering the other stations. So we have divided in half to make it more manageable, and it is we are getting some significant results. So all the principles of management and then criminology came in how we do it and how we will be zoning the areas to do patrols, and as we get the additional resources, and we are including foot patrol beats and working with the municipal police and the transit police, the airport security and things, to try to hold on and deal with it. And then we will have the defense forces assisting us more in the hilly areas in the Northern Division, where we are getting some challenges, where some of the offenders are actually sometimes camping out and coming down and preying on the law-abiding citizens.
Now, Commissioner, quickly, because we have to wrap soon, I can't have you here and not ask you your opinion on TNT being placed 6th in the World Population Review on the list of most crime-riddled countries. How do you respond to this?
Yes, I think the ambassadors, I think they handle it well, because what is happening is that they, in fact, looked at all the serious crimes together throughout the country, and they add it up and they work it against the other countries. But Trinidad and Tobago, we are doing very, very well in our detection in recovery of firearms and narcotics. We call it possession offenses. So the more firearms that we recover and charge persons, the more narcotics we get, the more ammunition we get. All of these are serious crimes. So therefore, our serious crime numbers will go up significantly. And one of the things that Trinidad and Tobago, one of the things that Trinidad and Tobago may have more than the other countries is a lot of fraud offenses. So thus, when you add it up, you will see what we are getting. But it is not in relation to murders, it's in relation to the general serious crime.
Now, Commissioner, I'm glad you mentioned murders, because for the year thus far, we've had over 200 murders. And I believe, please correct me if I'm wrong, this is more than we would have had for the same period last year. I mean, how do you respond to this, and what's being put in place to ensure that we curb the crime rate at least before the year ends?
Well, we have implemented, and we don't have the time, but we have implemented a lot of strategies in order to deal with it. But in order for us to really understand and appreciate what we're doing, we are not doing linear analysis, just comparing last year with this year. Because as far as we're concerned, last year was a skewed year, and even the year before in relation to COVID-19. So what we are doing a trend analysis, and we look over the 5-year period, which will include 2019 and 2018, to see where we really at in relation to what is happening. Because we are seeing this 200 and something murders. But if you compare to the years when we didn't have COVID, you will see it is close to the numbers, and it is not. And we are not taking any solace in that. We are simply saying that in order to really and truly appreciate the landscape and what is happening. We need to do the trend analysis. We cannot just compare last year with this year when last year was a skewed year in relation to what was taking place in relation to COVID-19. Less opportunities. We had lockdown. So yes, we have an increase when compared with last year. We are not at all comfortable with the figure. And I think we have mentioned over the period all that we are doing in order to remedy this problem so that at the end of the day, we can, in fact, at the end, have less reports of murders than last year. It is a humongous task because we started off, as they say, with a bang, and in this year, starting off with 53 murders in the month of January, and since then, yes, we have a drop here and there, but we still have an average of around 42 murders per month, which is not good at all. So myself, together with the members of the police service, is making all efforts, right, with the support of the ministry, to deal with this level of violent crime in Trinidad and Tobago.
Acting Commissioner Jacob, thank you so much for coming on the Now Morning Show. We always run out of time when you're here because we have so much to discuss. But thank you for sharing a little bit about what we wanted to talk about. Thank you so much for joining us.
Okay, no problem at all. Have a beautiful day.
You too. And that was Acting Commissioner of Police McDonald Jacob just sharing about the reported break-ins and what the TTPS is doing to curb the increase in crime. You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a break and be right back. Stay with us. And I'm far from finished.